Shalom. This Shabbat is Parshat Noach, the flood story. There's so much to discuss, but let me focus on the hero of the story, Noah. You may already know this magnificent rabbinic commentary on Noah, but you need it for my thought this week. When the Torah text opens, it starts by saying Noah was an ish tzaddik, tamim haya bedoratav. Noah was a righteous man, blameless in his generation. That's Genesis chapter 6, verse 9. Our rabbis famously teach that the words bedorotav, in his generation, are significant. It could have been left out. Noah was a righteous and blameless man. Period. Full stop. So why does the Torah text feel the need to add in his generation? So some rabbis say the text is saying Noah was righteous in his generation to his credit. For Noah to be a good person in such a cruel and depraved world is a tribute to his saintliness. Other rabbis argue in his generation, that's added to tell you he was only good by comparison. In his generation only, he was the best of a bad bunch. So my question is, why would the rabbis even think that he wasn't righteous? When the Torah introduces Noah for the first time, it doesn't seem to be qualifying his goodness. So my question is, why impugn the character of a man who was clearly being presented in our Torah as a man who walked with God, a saintly man, worthy of being saved? I think the rabbis are alerting us, the readers, to pay close attention to the narrative as it unfolds. Things are not quite what they seem regarding Noah. And this may help. There is a beautiful midrash. There's a legend told by the rabbis that when Noah left the ark and he saw the world destroyed, he got on his knees and he began crying. And he said to God, Ribbon shel olam, Master of the universe, you are the most merciful one. You should have been merciful to your creatures. How could you do this? Shame on you, God. And God answered him, really? Now you protest? When I said, for my part, I'm about to bring the flood, when you heard that you would be saved in the ark, when I told you how to build it, who to put in it, all those years building a boat for your own safety, you never once thought about the fate that would befall your friends, your neighbors, the world. Shame on you, Noah. It's an awesome, awesome midrash. If you read the Torah this week, be prepared to rethink the righteousness of the man called Noah. Because when God told him a flood was coming, not one word of protest was uttered from Noah's lips. When he was told to build the ark, not one simple appeal for mercy for others. God even had to tell Noah to add animals, to add his own family to the save list. If you want to notice something else, when you read the Torah this week, notice that during the entire time leading up to the flood, the entire time in the ark, Noah never speaks. Noah never says a word. He's silent in the face of destruction. Now you can argue that maybe he was afraid. Maybe he was afraid to argue with an unjust decision by God. Maybe he was afraid and scared of what his neighbors would say about him or do to him if he told them what was happening and why he was building the boat. Maybe he was afraid of his own family and what they might think of about him. They might laugh. They might ridicule him if he tried to include them. I mean, you can say those are all valid and legitimate concerns, perhaps, but all irrelevant if he was truly a righteous person. Because a righteous person has moral courage. A righteous person, for all generations, can't help but see those about to be hurt and act. A righteous person for all generations carries their weight on his shoulders, her shoulders, at all times. Righteousness is more than being nice. It requires a constant awareness of others, seeing the plight of your fellow human beings, and be willing to raise your voice in protest. It's not easy, but true righteousness it never is. Shabbat Shalom.